Can you please tell us the story of meeting James Earl Jones
Oh,
and
yeah.
how that helped you articulate your physicality?
Mhm. So, Mr. Jones had a series on ABC called Gabriel's Fire, and it was one of my first guest spots, if not my very one of the first. And so, I was playing this hitman, so flashy and gesticulating and all kinds, just real rookie mistakes. I was being showy rather than inside out. It was very outside. Um, and so we break for lunch and I have my lunch, and there's a knock on my trailer door, and AD comes and says, Mr. Jones would like you to join him for lunch. He's like, Mr. Jones, who? Mr. James Earl Jones? Like, so I'm petrified because, I didn't know if this is how they fire people or, you know,
Is that code
James
for you're
Earl
fired? Mr. Jones will
Jones.
meet you for lunch?
Yeah. Hey, maybe you should find a new line of work. So with great trepidation, went to his motorhome and knocked on the door. And, he doesn't speak in this big booming voice. He's very soft spoken, which is surprising. So he went and sat down and, we just started talking. He was asking me, about how I grew up and schooling and stuff like that. And he started explaining the craft of acting. And I'm sitting there like a kid having Aesop's fables read to me. And I just drank it all in. And the thing that he gave me that I carry with me every time I'm on a set is never move unless you have to. So if you are, and he explained it, now I get it. I'm not sure I fully comprehended back then. I just said, okay, I'm never going to move again.
Right.
um, but if you watch older films, they would do extreme close-ups, and their faces would, and you can't move because it's so jarring, and their
Right.
faces would almost be devoid of expression because then the viewer will cast upon them whatever they're feeling during this scene. And I mean, I think I've done okay by listening to Mr. Jones.
I think so too. There are those watershed moments in our lives where we meet the people who have helped shape us as people.
Yes.
And I can't imagine what that would have been like to sit down with such a master and just take that all, because I had asked you, why Teal'c was so minimalist, where that approach came from, and it's it's such a defining characteristic of who he is,
Mm-hmm.
because when he decides to do something, he really means it, and
That
there's a great deal of thought that has been put into his process of
right,
whatever he's going to do. So that
right,
was a
right.
great that was a great lunch.
Yeah, yeah. I've had the great fortune to have great mentors
Yeah.
throughout my career. I mean, Mr. Jones, Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes.
We did a movie called Cadence, and it was directed by Martin Sheen, who's also a
Wow.
mentor. And Martin asked Fish to take me to breakfast every day and just talk about life. And so that's what we
Wow.
did in Kamloops, Canada. I would go to breakfast every morning with Fish and John Toles Bay, who wrote A Rage in Harlem, and we just talked about life. And it was wonderful. Rick, I mean, I learned so much from Rick. To have someone like him to kind of really learn. You know, I mean, I hope this doesn't sound weird, but as I was a supporting actor on Stargate, but as Kratos, I'm number one, and
Yeah.
he really showed me that number one sets the tone every day
Yeah.
for not only the cast but the crew, catering, everybody. And so I really took it seriously that I wanted every single person involved to want to come to work every day. That they would wake up and go, "Hey, I get to go to work today." You know, and not dreading like, "Oh God, I hope Judge is not a douchebag today." You know, so our God of War set is very much like Stargate set. It's really loose. It's never quiet unless we're actually
Yeah.
shooting. I want people to be able to talk. I don't. I've been on sets where you got to whisper, like even when they're doing setups, our setups, you're sitting there whispering, and you got to walk on eggshells when certain people come on set. And like that's no way to live. That's not a good work environment. So I just wanted to be as fun for everyone else as it is for me.
Yeah, you talked about how Rick and Mike Greenberg, like, and all of you set the tone. Was like, you had said, with the long days that you're putting in here, we're not going to do this if we're not going to have a good time along the way, because it's not worth it.
Yeah, that was one of the first things we talked about doing the pilot because we the unenviable position of knowing we were going to do at least 44 episodes. So, doing the pilot, we'll just keep doing it till it's not fun anymore, and it was always fun.
I've got some fan questions, as you might imagine.
Absolutely.
Jeremy Heiner, if Teal'c met Kratos, would he call him a false god?
I actually think there would be some simpatico between Teal'c and Kratos because, once they got, done with all the posturing and all that, they have that undeniable bond. They love their kids and they want their kid to be better than they were.
Absolutely. Gate Gabber, she loved your episodes dealing with the liberation of the Jaffa. Where do you think they are as a people now?
Well, I know where they are because I wrote a spinoff.
Yes. Talk about the return of the Jaffa. Can you give us a taste? Can you please give us a taste?
Well, it was very similar to kind of our version of Black Panther. But a lot of the stuff that we established, and not saying that it was taken from us, not saying anything like that at all. But the Warrior, I wrote the story for, and the great Pete Deloise wrote the script. And some of the stuff that we had in there, Jomo Sekou, where anyone could challenge the leader for the right to lead. That was in Black Panther. The decision of whether to or not to use technology to help others or just to protect our own, that was brought up in that episode. And then him turning out to be a phony. So all of that kind of was great fodder because people ask me like, well, what do you regret about the show ending? It's because we never saw what happened to the Jaffa when they were free.
Thanks for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. If you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up. It's our goal to share a new Stargate story every day while we're on break. Please feel free to subscribe to future episodes here on YouTube. And if you have Stargate friends who might like this clip, let them know about us. Be sure to visit dialthegate.com to view the complete archive, as well as transcripts from past interviews. I'll see you on the other side.